Hello, it's Matt from GAK, and today we've got a very exclusive video. We are the first store to get hold of the new Boss multi-effects. This is the ME-80. Now, I've had one for a little while, and I've been demoing it and road testing it and using it in various ways, and I can honestly say I don't think it's really just like any other multi-effects. It really, to me, it appeals, as someone who's got a lot of single effects, actually appeals to players like me, because I can use it in the sense of using it like separate pedals. It's got a load of cool features on it that work for a guitarist who just wants to expand their pedal board and wants to expand the sounds they've got. But it also works for a player who might go to a functions gig or does a functions band, who wants a load of preset sounds, which you can do on here as well. So for people who are unfamiliar with the ME-70, this is quite a big upgrade, and for people who have seen them before, you can tell that there's a lot of new features. So one of the main things they've done now is they've managed to keep the compact size. This isn't much bigger than an ME-70, but what you've got is you've got 8 foot switches on these kind of neat sort of double foot switches, which are kind of a first. I've never really seen this on anything else. So you've got an up and a down, so really rugged kind of soft touch, no click switching. You've got a series of different effects as before, so your FX1, which covers everything from octave swells to ring modulators to pickup boosting, overdrives, modulations, which features delays, more delays, extra effects including an EQ section, and you've got some extras on the modulations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to talk you through a few of the sounds that I've been using and a few of the settings I've been using. The great thing is these are going to retail for probably not a lot over £200. The great thing is they've got the new Boss TE2 and the MO2 multi-overtone and Terra Echo pedals in, which use the multi-dimensional processing, so they're really touch sensitive, they're really effective. There's loads of cool effects to use on the expression pedals, so there's a lot more fun in there. Plus you've still got your usual in and outs that you see now, so stereo out, which can go into direct into a PA, it can go direct into recording equipment, because the preamp section you've got on here is all switchable. So that actually, you know, if you're going into an amp, you can actually turn all that off. If you're going to recording, you can switch it on and off as you want. Recording out, which also works as headphones. You've got an auxiliary input for a CD player and MP3 player, and you've got USB. Now this is going to allow you in the future, once Roland have kind of launched that as well as this, you're going to have things like Roland Connect, which is going to allow you to upload and download presets, share all your settings, and then that's going to be able to, eventually you're going to be able to transfer that to other units. But for me, I just really think it's a great effect for just something to expand your pedal board. You don't necessarily need it to replace anything, as I would, but it's just kind of nice for a load of effects that you might not necessarily want to go out and buy, but it's got a kind of real nice sort of set of things you'd use on here, and it's actually a really nice kind of sonic sort of palette for using loads of crazy effects as well. So if you're into loads of ambient stuff or like post-rock stuff, they work really well. So what we'll do is we're going to plug it in, give it a listen, and I'm going to run you through a few of the sounds that you can get out of it. Awesome. So here we have the ME-80. We're going through a custom shop telly into one of the new Fender vaporizers. We're going straight in. So basically what you've got on your 8-button layout up here. So we'll start off in manual mode. So each foot switch then responds to one of the sections on here. So we start off, you've got amp modeling. So this is your preamp section here. Now this can be turned on or off, which is a nice feature. So if you're going direct into a desk or direct in for recording, you can actually use the foot switch to turn that on and off. So you've got things like a clean setting, which is taken directly from the JC120 clean. But if you say, for example, you're playing more rock-driven stuff, you can actually set your bass sort of sound to be, like a Marshall stack. So you can actually preset, and have the preamp on for a certain type of sound. So we're not actually using any distortion effects or anything. That is purely just amp modeling, and it goes all the way up to kind of a metal style distortion. So, and like I said, you can literally turn it on and off. So you can almost use that as an effect in its own right. But for the time being, we're going to leave it off, and then when we do go to it, we'll just use a clean sound here. Your second one, which is a new feature on these, is the EQ or FX2. So this is a second bank of effects that features a little bit from each one of these sections here, which is foot switch roll just here. So you can actually have like a 3-band parametric like EQ, so bass, middle and treble with a level control. So you can use that for just altering your sound. So with it off, so you can use it as a volume boost or anything that you want to use it on there. I've been using it mainly actually for another delay, because the nice thing is it's nice to be able to stack delay. So you've got a separate delay with all your controls, time, feedback and level. And obviously that still does all the crazy things you'd expect a delay to do. Our third button here turns on our reverb. So we can actually add in so that's a hall reverb. You've got the choice of a room and a spring, and with all of these, the more you turn it up, the more pronounced the effect will be. So if we turn the spring all the way up, once again, foot switch will on and off here. The fourth button on the top row switches between our memory mode and our manual mode. So if we go to memory, each one of these 7 buttons here, because remember this one changed between the 2 modes, accesses a different preset. So what we can do is we can actually we can go 1, 2, 3 and 4 and a preset sounds. You've then got a control button that then allows you to turn on or off anything in one go on here. So for example, on this preset, we're turning the modulation on and off. And then this one allows us to go through our banks. So you can easily go through and cycle through all your sounds. So you can have a sound like this. And change directly to a sound like this. Use the control button to bring something else in, like Overdrive. So you can see a setting like that's quite nice, because you can set up your general rhythm sound. And then add in your overdrive for maybe a rhythm sort of middle 8. And you can have quite a number of those presets. So if we go back to manual mode, so then we've got our compression, overdrive, modulation and delay. So compression, or effects 1, adds in a series of what's nice is some of the more vintage effects from Boss's range. You've got the standard compressor, you've got an auto wire up and down. But what's quite nice, one of my favourite effects is the Octave, which is taken directly from the sort of OC2, OC3 range. Gives you that really sort of synthy sort of octave sound. And the nice thing is with something like that is you can actually adjust how much you want of 1 octave down, 2 octaves down, and the general level. So you can actually turn off, say, just the guitar mix and just give yourself 2 octaves down. For a real sub-octave sort of rumble, bring in the other one. Gives you almost like a synth-like character. You've got the slow gear in here, which is really nice. That's for sort of all your volume swells. which works really well with some delay. You've got defretter, and for the first time ever, you've actually got a ring modulator. This is the first time they've really kind of featured it on a Boss product. So, you know, ring modulator. So it's nice, you've got some frequency control there. And as before, you've got an acoustic simulator, single to humbucker to single, and a solo. So you can actually use that as a volume boost. We're going to leave it on the Octave setting for the time being. Second one on your overdrives, all your standard sort of distortions and all the models that you've had from previous Boss effects, but this time they've added a nice Octave fuzz. So that's that cool, really vintage sort of Octave fuzz. You've got sort of your standard big muff sound. And you can go all the way down to just sort of something like their OD1, so we can push it a little bit there. So that's your overdrive section. Then we go into modulation. Now the cool thing about the modulation section is not only, as I said earlier, it features the MO2, the multi-overtone, which is another sort of pitch shifting octave effect. But you've also got another delay. So that's our second delay so far. So you can actually, once again, you can stack delays. You've got a univibe, rotary, chorus, and all of the, if you use something like a rotary setting, the nice thing is the expression pedal here can be used for modulation rate. So you can have a really nice realistic Leslie sound and then use this expression pedal to slow it down like the motor on a Leslie speaker. And then finally, what we've got here is you've got your delay section, which features your Terra Echo. And the nice thing that you'll notice is that all of these are spillover. So as you turn them off, they carry on, they get trails. You've also got a phrase looper in there, analog, tape, modulation modes. So what we're going to do is we'll leave it on something like the phrase looper so we can demo a little bit of everything. And then finally, you've got your pedal effects. You've got your standard octaves up and down, but two new features which are really nice are your oscillating delay. Taken straight from kind of a RE20 Space Echo sort of vibe, and one of my favourites, which is the freeze. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of mix all these sounds and we'll just see what we come up with. Cool, so I've got the looper set up. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of attempt to try and do an idea of what you can do with a looper and some of the different sounds we've got on there. So we're set on the phrase loop mode. You can see it flashing, so it's all primed to go. And we'll just start off and we'll make some noises to start off with, and we'll go from there. You can see how different effects fade in and they react with each other in different ways. So as you fade out things like delays, they trail on into other effects. Didn't use much of the preamp there, but like I said, you know, if you're recording, it's really nice to kind of be able to use that and switch it on and off for different purposes. It'll be really nice once the computer side of it's all up and running as well, because you can use it for USB recording. But there's so much that you can actually edit on this, and that's just a kind of a small snapshot of just doing a simple loop and using some of the effects. But no matter what style you are, I think is a really handy bit of kit to have, and it's just nice actually, and it's just a little bit of fun for someone who might have a pedal board with some other effects. You just kind of want to tag something on that does a little bit of everything. It's nice because this works rather than scrolling through menus. It's like having the physical pedals on the floor. So for me, I think this is really going to be one of the best products that's probably going to come out this year, just in terms of using it for so many different applications. So yeah, as soon as they're out, come in, give it a go.